Welcome, everyone, to this session. It's a general information session on Penfield's renewed Community Choice Aggregation program. This is a program that takes effect on December of 2023 and runs for 2 years to November of 2025. My name's Al Hibner. I'm co-founder of Color Penfield Green, and we are presenting this session for your information purposes at this time. The objective for this session is very straightforward. In October, in a few days, all Penfield residents will receive a letter to decide to make a decision whether they're going to stay in the new Community Choice Aggregation program or opt out. And what we are really trying to do with this video is to provide you with additional background information so that you can work with your family to make that decision, whether you want to stay in our Penfield Green or 50% renewable program, whether you decide to opt out altogether from Penfield CCA, or whether you might decide to opt in to the Penfield 100% renewable electricity choice. Those are the three choices for our program, have always been for the first 2 years and remain in effect for the coming 2 years. So at the end of this, we'll kind of check in with you to see how well this has helped you to move toward a decision. Part one of the session is to really take a look at the performance of our current program, which ends at the end of November, ran from December of 2021 to the current date right now, which is September 29th, 2023. So we'll take a look at our current performance of this program. If you look at this graph on the left, it's entitled Fuel Sources Used to Generate Your Electricity. And these are the fuel sources that were used by RG&E for all of 2021 to generate our electricity supply. And that would be the variable daily supply rate that is provided by RG&E if you do not opt into a different type of program. So this link came to me from Sarah Waterman, our town sustainability engineer. And I do want to emphasize to you as we begin this program, I will be providing all of the links that you see below in the YouTube comment area below this video. And I also will attach in that space a link so that you can download these slides, and the links inside each slide will be clickable. So that allows you then to go to these actual sites that I'm showing you here and check that information on your own and verify it and dig even further into it. So this was RG&E's environmental statement at the end of 2021, and let's take a look at it. I don't have the data at this point for 2022 or 2023, and I think it's pretty important that I find that, but this gives us a real good clue as to what the mix of different fuels are that are used to provide RG&E's default variable supply rate. And if you look at this fuel mix for 2021, we have 9% hydro, 1% solar, and 2% wind. So the mix is really about 12 to 13% green or renewable in total. At the bottom of this graphic, if you look at the New York State average emissions, our default RG&E supply is 113% for both sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide, and nitrogen oxide. 113% of New York State's average. That's a bit troubling. That implies that it's a fairly dirty mix of fuels. Even more alarming to me, I think, is that 52% of our electricity in 2021 came from burning fossil fuels, natural gas. That surprised me, and it's a bit troubling to me. So over half of RG&E's variable daily supply rate has come comes from burning electricity from burning natural gas. So in my opinion, this actually, I think, as we move further into our session tonight, this actually helps to explain, I think, why RG&E's default daily variable supply rate is so low. But there'll be a lot more coming on in later slides here on this particular topic. So just keep that in mind, 52% in 2021. One of my favorite sources for information on energy usage is the U.S. Energy Information Administration's website. And you can see the link down here. I've actually gone to their page, which is their short-term energy outlook. And it shows the actual data for energy used in the United States from 2021 to 2023. But even more importantly, I think it also shows us projections for next year. This might give us a clue or two as to how our CCA program will perform against the RG&E variable supply rate. So the US EIA forecasts that nationally, 40% of all electricity will continue to be generated by natural gas in 2024. Significant figure. Now remember, 52% RG&E 2021. And I believe 2022 was closer to 46%. So it's higher than the actual national average in terms of share of US electricity generated by natural gas. So keep these numbers in mind as we move forward. By the way, this data is current. The release date of it is September 12th, 2023. And they come out with new information every month. So you can come back in and check this information on your own anytime that you wish. Now, the US EIA also forecasts that natural gas spot prices, and if you look on the rightmost column in 2024, it's showing that on average, natural gas spot price for 1 million BTUs is going to be $3.24 in 2024. If you look back at 2022, the spot price was $6.42 per million BTUs, double, almost exactly double what the projection is for 2024. So this tells you that electricity generated by natural gas in 2024 is probably going to be quite a bit, the price will probably be a lot less than it was in 2022, just because of the spot price here. So that's my hypothesis, that 2024 will have lower prices for electricity generated by natural gas than 2022. And that's significant as we move forward in this presentation. This chart is really important. This actually shows if you are a member of our default CCA program, which is called Penfield Green, it means that 50% of your electricity in Penfield Green came from renewable energy certificates. They were purchased by our administrator, Good Energy, from our electricity supplier, Constellation New Energy. So we have a 50%, this is the 50% mix. However, it's even better than that, because when you look at the all the other sources, we also have solar, wind, biomass, and biogas. And if you add them all up, our actual mix for Penfield Green is not 50%. It's a bit higher. It's actually closer to 65% green. Also, focus on natural gas. During 2022, it looks to me like we really were saying that natural gas was accounting for 46% in the default RG&E mix, but in our Penfield Green mix, natural gas was generating about 18% of our electricity, so substantial, so almost a 30% reduction. in the use of natural gas or fossil fuels to generate our electricity. So definitely Penfield Green was so much more green than the RG&E mix. And you can see the link down here is at the PenfieldCCA.com website under program highlights. This chart is also for 2022. This is our Penfield Green CCA rate versus RG&E's variable daily prices throughout all of 2022. And again, our Penfield Green fixed rate for 2 years was 5.733 cents per kilowatt hour. So you can see that we crushed it. Okay, for an entire year there, our rate for our Penfield Green electricity, 65% effectively green, was so much lower than RG&E's variable rate for the dirtier mix that I showed you a little bit earlier. So, wow, why is that? What happened in 2022? I mean, it was great for our program, and anybody that was paying 5.733 cents for that entire year made money as compared with having to pay the variable RG&E default supply rate. So that was a good thing. Well, here's the answer. Why did Penfield Green beat RG&E supply price by so much? It's pretty straightforward. I have indicated here in the gray shadowing all of 2022. And if you compare this graph to the prior slide, the variable electricity supply prices, the charts are remarkably similar. So the natural gas price is tracking very closely with the RG&E price. I really take some time after this is over, if you download the PowerPoint, and kind of put those two charts side by side. You'll see how closely they line up. So what happened? Obviously, what happened is highlighted in red and white below. We had a black swan event in February of 2022. The war in Ukraine caused an immense price increase for natural gas worldwide. Europe was in an uproar. Russia was closing down the natural gas pipeline. The Nord Stream 1 pipeline was shutting it down, and the Nord Stream 2 pipeline under construction and due to open was basically just sidelined completely. So a huge, cheap source of natural gas for Europe from Russia was just shut down. So Europe was buying gas as much as it could from as many sources, including the United States liquid natural gas, shipped over to Europe. So you can see how the price tracks from February all the way up to about June of 2022. It just skyrocketed up to almost $10 per million BTUs. Then, of course, in the summer, June, July, August, there's a little bit of a decline, but then it skyrockets back up again to touch almost $10 by probably about November timeframe, November, December, and into the winter. And finally, it begins to ease off as we get a little closer to 2023, although it's still fairly volatile swings in prices. Now, here's a dramatic difference. The law of supply and demand, the Ukraine war has been absorbed here in terms of the market. The market is working to resupply natural gas, and the price plummets. So in 2023, all of 2023, the price has been below $3 per million BTUs, astonishingly low. So on another side, and a topic for another video at another time, we really need to put, I think, a steadily rising price on CO2 and equivalent greenhouse gas emissions and return all of those revenues to Americans as equal shares to offset rising fossil fuel prices. But that's a topic for another video, creating a carbon fee and dividend. Moving on. Now, this this slide, this image, also located at our PenfieldCCA.com program highlights page for the year 2022, and this is really that 12-month period, all of 2022, very significant. This shows the carbon offsets that we actually managed to accrue or to create in our program for the entire year. And since the inception of the program, if you look at the green underlined section here, 5,388 passenger vehicles could have been removed from use for an entire year. And that's, of course, gasoline-powered vehicles based on the amount of renewable energy the program has purchased. That is success. And then you add in all of 2023, it's even more. So bottom line, our Penfield Green monthly carbon offsets are a real accomplishment. This is what the program, Community Choice Aggregation, was meant to accomplish. So I think all of us can pat ourselves on the back for having such a good program with such sterling results. So that's our current program. And now what I'd like to do is present to you some detail about our new CCA program, which runs from December 2023 to November of 2025. Let's get started. Okay, what you're looking at right now on the left-hand side, the two green boxes here. Penfield Green, its rate for the next 2 years is 9.665 cents. Penfield 100 or 100% renewable electricity, 10.849. Prior 12-month RG&E average is under 7 cents. So right away, the very first moment I saw this, boom, the question, it just hit me. It hit me hard, even though I'm a proponent of CCA and have worked hard to get this created and lobbied for it in Penfield with the town board. Why are these rates so high for our next 24-month contract? This came out of the blue. It's as much as 68 to 70% higher rates for the next 2 years. That's real money out of my pocket. I really didn't quite understand why they were so high. And that's what I want to try to talk to you about in the remainder of part 2 here, our new program, to give you more context about why these rates are what they are and to compare them to other programs. Okay, on September 18th, Monday, the Town of Penfield, Sarah Waterman, our town sustainability engineer, and John Berg, who is our administrator, representative of Good Energy, our administrator for the CCA program, put on a public information meeting, and they were there to present information as well as to listen to people ask questions. By the way, if you want to see the full program, it is on Penfield television, and I've put the YouTube address down here. So again, that will be available to you underneath this video on YouTube. You can click to open up the more description, and you'll see these links to the YouTube video for the Penfield. So let's move on. Now, as I mentioned to you, it was John Berg from Good Energy and Sarah Waterman from the town who answered questions about the contract renewal and provided an opportunity for questions. And there was one 8-minute segment where Jeff Burns, who's a Penfield resident and actually was instrumental in assisting with our Penfield CCA Residents Committee 4 or 5 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. So Jeff had a series of excellent questions. Why did the rate increase 68%? All of us wanted to know that. Question number 1, of course. How do you come up with this fixed rate? How does our rate compare with other local CCA programs? And I've taken that one step further. How does it compare with ESCOs, other electricity programs that you can buy electricity supply from, energy service corporations, companies? What's the participation percentage in Penfield? And can you describe community solar as an option? So he asked 5 questions in the span of 8 minutes and got detailed answers from both John Berg and Sarah Waterman. And what I'd like you to do right now actually would be to pause this video after I give you instructions. Either take a screenshot or write down these questions and try on your own to listen for the answers. I'm not going to give you the answers to the first 2 questions. I'm going to make you dig them out on your own so that you're satisfied with why the rate increased as much as it did and how they came up with this fixed rate. You'll hear those answers. I will be answering question number 3 in a future slide here on how we compare to other CCAs. And I'm also going to talk about, I'll give you the answers to 4 and 5, or those are very, very quick and short answers. So without any further, and I'm not going to stop the video, I'm just going to go ahead and play it. It's about 8 minutes long. We will let you dig out the answers to these 5 questions.
So I'm concerned about the rate increase.
Sure.
My quick calculation on this is it looks like it's gone up 68% from last year.
Yeah, so 5.7. Oh, no worries. I can hear. Yeah.
Oh, actually, I don't know if I'm coming through.
Sounds like it's coming through.
Hello. Okay.
Thank you, Toby.
There we go.
Yep. Okay, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, so correct. I don't know if it's exactly 68%, but I assume your math's correct, right? So it went from 5.733 cents to 9.665.
Right.
And that's a combination of the market differences between 2020 and 2021, which were much lower than they are today.
Okay.
And the green content has gone up almost double, right? So the cost of that is really what's weighting the prices higher. Right. Keep in mind, however, that right now the RG&E rates are variable rates, so we don't really know what's going to happen in 2024 or 2025, right? Right. So, kind of I don't want to call it like, a bet, but basically, if you look at what we did in 2021, the market really increased over that 2-year period, and there was a lot of value for the program. Yeah. Now, I'm not suggesting that exact result's going to occur over the next 2 years, but that's really the kind of decision-making process, is to hedge, where the market's today. Right. On the advent that the market goes higher, both the green component and the regular power goes higher over 2 years.
Well, the green component, I'm concerned about that as well, because the 50% green compared to the 100%, it's only a penny more for the 100%. So that seems to suggest that the green component is really a minor part of the total cost.
Well, actually, I wouldn't necessarily say that. It's actually pretty high. Let's go back. It's actually 1.2 cents. So it's about 2.5 cents for 100% green. About 1.25 cents for the 50% green. Right. So I think your math is pretty close. Yeah. I just want to pull the numbers up again. Yeah. Here we go. Right here.
But it would suggest.
So you can see, there's a 1.2 cent difference between the 50% and the 100%. So exactly correct.
Yeah. So if it's just a penny more for 50%, then it would suggest that the vast majority of the increase of price is not from the green; it's from general energy costs going up.
Absolutely. So I mean, what I would say is just my recollection of what was in the green component back in 2021 was about 1.5 cents total for 100% green. So it was about 3/4 of a penny for the 50%. Yep. So you can see the greens increase, but that's not the largest movement in the price, right? Right. So the largest movement is just market-based prices overall. Right. What we saw last year, and the increases in the prices last year were really born out of, the geopolitical events that occurred between Russia and Ukraine. Our administration withheld gas supply both domestically because they were shipping it over to our allies, and then we had no winter, right? So it was supposed to be the coldest winter on record. It turned out to be the warmest winter on record. So a lot of gas in the ground, prices are pretty cheap. Yep. The great news is, though, the program really yielded value, right? Both from the green perspective and the economic perspective over the last 2 years, or 18 months, 19 months. Again, we can't necessarily say that that's going to repeat itself moving forward. But the great thing about these programs is it creates optionality. You can opt out. You can opt in. You can opt out. You just got to pay attention, right? So it's really incumbent on us to provide the right level of outreach, make sure that we update the websites such that that information is relevant, and we do that on a monthly basis to make sure that we post actually 3 numbers from the utility. It's the 1 month trailing from our Genie, the 3 month, and then the 12-month prior average.
Yeah. So how is your rate determined? How do you come up with this fixed rate if the previous 12 months has been 6.8 cents?
Yep.
You're projecting, in other words, that the rates are going to be higher because you've got to incorporate some risk in this.
Yeah, so
John?
the utilities rate is what we call like a day ahead settle, right, or real time. So when you don't hedge something forward, it just settles to the market.
John, could you please go through the procurement process and how we got the quotes too?
Yeah, so how we came up with the prices, we go to market to multiple suppliers. We as an administrator typically only work with the largest, most credible suppliers from a credit perspective, experience perspective. So we went to bid with 2 of the largest suppliers in the space, Direct Energy and Constellation New Energy, right? Constellation is the current and will be the future supplier for the program. So we go to competitive bid. It's released, in a public forum. We open them, they're sealed bids, and we choose really from a capability perspective. These 2 suppliers is really very little difference, right? They're both one of the most capable suppliers in the marketplace. So it really comes down to price, right, and experience. So in this case, Constellation, again, was the lowest bidder, and it's really, really indicative of where the market's at. We've seen other programs that went off maybe a couple months prior, and then during the same time period that we were bidding Town of Penfield's loads, were very similar price points at the residential level. So we're pretty confident that it was a really good market level price. What you see from RG&E is not a future fixed price. It's a monthly day ahead settle. And what we're seeing in the marketplace, say natural gas. Forwards for natural gas are up here, but the market on a daily basis is settling here. So you have a trade-off between lower prices and risk and budget certainty.
Right.
At some point, they cross, right? At certain points, you'll see where a market-based rate will just explode. Like in Texas recently over the summer, they had prices that were like, what was that, 6 cents? Like 100 cents. Right, during like a week in Texas. So it's a trade-off between market-based rates and forward prices.
And to be clear, Good Energy in the town of Penfield is not predicting the price. We received quotes from these energy suppliers, and the town board chose the lowest quote that came in.
Right.
Yeah.
So how does this compare with other CCAs in the state right now? Have any renewed and a similar time period, and what is the
so City of Rochester renewed, and Henrietta actually didn't renew, but Henrietta is a new program that was combined at the same time with the City of Rochester, right? So they're not together, but they went out to bid at the same time. And the price points were very similar. Their price points were maybe 0.2 of a penny lower in that regard, but that was just market timing. They got their transaction done in May, and we hedged this off in August, so the first week in August.
Okay.
So timing differences in the marketplace will have differences in price, but it's very close, very similar. And by the way, it was the same supplier. So Constellation New Energy picked up both those programs and this program again.
I see. And do you know what the percentage of the participation rate has been in Penfield for the CCA?
I know exactly what it is. It's probably around 69%. Let's call it 70% participation. Unlike what we saw in City of Rochester, not to disparage the program, but their participation rate is less than 50% at this point.
And how about the Penfield 100? Do you know what the participation rate was for?
There was 11 participants, to my knowledge.
11
Exactly.
participants, okay.
But that was actually formally requested by a group of residents that we approached that option so that they would have that.
Right.
And there's no added cost to anyone but those residents that are part of it.
Right. And then can you describe community solar as an option that can be laid on top of this, that people can utilize that as well?
So as we see solar providers come into the marketplace, they'll oftentimes offer discounted rates to residential customers. It's really now more geared towards what I call LMI, low to moderate income, which was the EAP type customer class, the assistance type accounts. So most of that load, and it's mandated by NYSERDA in the state of New York, has to go to those LMI type customers. However, oftentimes we'll find there's offers out there where you can get either a 5% or a 10% discount on your entire bill, completely aside from the supply. It's just a separate offer. And we don't bundle the two right here for this program. Other programs have tried to bundle those offerings, right? The community solar with the supply.
Yeah.
It didn't work out so great, so we keep them independent at this point.
Okay.
And to be clear, at this point, the town of Penfield does not have a community solar option.
Yeah.
The town may not, but
Yes.
the public
But an
does,
individual
so,
resident
yes,
can
they
go
do.
out and
Yeah,
get
because
it
I've been
themselves.
participating with that. I've been using the CCA as well as community solar, and then I save 10% a month.
10%? Right.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, it's a good program.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Oh, no worries.
So we're back now after that video, and there are the 5 questions, and I'm going to expand on the rate increase and how they came up with the rate. And I will also talk about the comparison to the other CCA programs that John mentioned in his answer. He said the percentage of participation was 70%, that there is no community solar program attached to our Penfield CCA program. So let's continue on. I want to provide, again, context to the market rate. As John said, the going market rate has increased, and I want to go ahead and show you what is meant by that. First, how does our rate compare to other CCA programs that have renewed? And what you're looking at here is Rochester Community Power. That is the City of Rochester's Community Choice Aggregation program. And as he mentioned, they finalized their program and set their contract in, I think it was May of this year. Ours was done in August. And if you look at the price they settled on, again, with Constellation New Energy, their 50% renewable rate is 9.1 cents, and their 100% renewable is 10.053. So here's the comparison. A couple months later, the market had increased even more, and our 50% green or renewable is 9.665, and our 100% green or renewable is 10.849 cents. So between half a penny and 0.8 of a penny over the closest CCA program locally. Rochester and Henrietta, as he mentioned, also, I think, secured these rates. So that explains how we compare pretty favorably, within a half a penny, to our closest CCA program that renewed. Now, let's go back to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, especially the short-term energy outlook. And the website address, eia.gov Outlook's STO short-term energy outlook is right there. I encourage you to go to this website. And there's a couple reasons. It's very clear from this presentation so far that natural gas prices correlate tightly with RG&E's daily variable electricity supply rate. Now, why wouldn't it? If over half of electricity that Rochester Gas and Electric purchases is generated by natural gas, yeah, it just makes sense. It's going to be affected by natural gas pricing. So let's take a look at the forward outlook. Now, John Berg didn't really want to project or predict the future, but bottom line, the United States government, the Energy Information Administration, is going to do that projection. So this graph on the left that's highlighted here in gray shows the probability of natural gas prices staying lower than 2022 in 2024. I want you to look at the solid green and blue lines highlighted for 2024. They show predictions of Henry Hub natural gas prices staying at or below $4 per 1 million BTUs. Now, that's nothing like $10 per million BTUs or 9 that was hit in 2022 because of the war in Ukraine, driving those prices up. So the outlook shows the following kind of hypothesis that I would promote to you in the next year. RG&E electricity supply prices dependent on natural gas for producing electricity may not do what John said, which is cross and catch up to the fixed rate. They may not, they may. Again, we don't know. But the closest I could get to forecasting an outlook for where they're going to be says that they may not rise closer to the level of our CCA fixed prices in the coming year, barring a black swan event like the Ukraine war. But again, you end up purchasing a fixed price program as a guarantee. Basically, you're saying if they do go above, if RG&E's variable rate prices do go above 9.6 cents, I'm covered. My electricity is greener, and it actually would cost less at that point. So again, no guarantees of past performance yielding future performance. But if you want to talk about projections, this is as close as I can get to a source that may very well have some good ideas about where things are going. Okay, so the reason for the rate increase was market prices across the board have gone up. We can see that the other renewal of CCA programs came in very close to what we locked in, our rates. So what about other ESCOs? What about other energy service companies that provide electricity to residents in New York? There is an excellent website. I strongly recommend you go to it. It is called New York State Power to Choose. And you put in your zip code. I put in Penfield's 14526. It found 63 offers of energy, 55 electric, 8 gas, 49 of them had renewable content. So let's go take a look at those 55 offers. Okay, when you get into the website, and again, I strongly encourage you to check this because the prices are going to be changing constantly. The first thing that you do on the left-hand side, highlighted in green, is you set up a search. So I'm searching for electric service, fixed price, 24-month contract, no cancellation fee, and 100% renewable energy. This is equivalent to the Penfield 100 program that currently is priced for the next contract at about 10.8 cents. Remember that, 10.8 cents. So it returned 2 results, only 2, with 100% renewable, 24-month terms, and together they averaged 12 cents. So one of them was 10.09 cents. That one from Verde Energy USA, 10.009. So that's equivalent to the the Rochester program, Rochester CCA program. The other one was 13.5 cents, way over. Okay, so again, averaging 12. Now, conclusion is at 10.849, Penfield CCA's 24-month fixed rate for 100% renewable electricity is well within the existing market price ranges for other energy service companies. So rather than being blindsided by the contract prices that Penfield negotiated with Good Energy and Constellation New Energy, what John Berg said is spot on, that we went out and we got the best market price we could at the time that we were seeking to renew our contract. Now that's the 100%. So let's do another search. I then went ahead and changed the search. Again, electric, fixed, 24 months, no cancellation fee, all renewable energy, but only 50% renewable. This would be equivalent to the Penfield Green program. And it returned 6 offers, 4 new ones. 2 of them were the 100%, and 4 of them are at 50% renewable energy. So again, if you look at the average of these 6 programs, it's 11.5 cents per kilowatt hour. Penfield Green is 9.665. So bottom line, the lowest price here is 10.9 cents. And all of the others, even even plans, ESCOs, available now. I mean, you can go to this website and you could contract with these people and buy. You could opt out of our CCA program, and you could purchase one of these programs today. You could do that. So if you think about it, our rate for Penfield Green, our market price rate right now is actually pretty good, well within, actually below existing market price ranges for other energy service companies. So rather than being shocked and amazed at the price increase, I now see it in the context of the marketplace, and it's spot on, actually even a little bit better. Okay, that brings me to the conclusion of this session, and I'm really, really hoping that this video will help make your family's CCA decision better. Obviously, you can stay in the Penfield Green program at 9.6-ish cents. You can opt out altogether from CCA, and you're going to get an opt-out letter in October. You can just send it back or go to the website and opt out and get the lower price from the dirtier mix RG&E's variable supply rate. Or you can opt up into the Penfield 100 choice. You have these three choices. There are no penalties for opting out. You can watch the price from RG&E over time. And I'm going to have another video later that shows you how to actually determine over a range of whatever range of dates you pick, how to collect and average the daily rates from RG&E so you can make your decision. You can opt back into this program at any time. There is probably a 1 month or more lag time in order to get back in, but you have the freedom, no penalties whatsoever, to opt out, watch the market rate, wait to see if the RG&E rate is coming up and getting close to our fixed rate, jump back in to the CCA program, and just basically do it any way that you want. Again, no penalties for opting out, and you can opt out and opt back in as often as you want to. So that concludes my session. I hope this was helpful for you to provide context to what the rates are for our new 2-year agreement, and also why they are very, very consistent with the marketplace for electricity, especially renewable electricity. As they mentioned, John Berg mentioned, the price for renewables gone up a little bit, half a cent or whatever it is. It went up to 2.5 for Penfield 100 and 1.25 for Penfield 50, up from 1.5 and 0.75. So that's not a huge increase. Mostly it's the market rate for the other base load of electricity that's gone up, as you can see with the ESCO programs that I showed you. So thank you for watching this program. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm going to be putting up more videos on community choice aggregation. I will put the link in here for the playlist. Actually, it'll be in the comments area or the description area for this video on my YouTube channel. But I do try to put up videos for Color Penfield Green as well as Community Choice Aggregation, and would hope that you would join or subscribe to the channel and look for new videos that are coming down the road. Again, thank you so much, and we hope that this video has been valuable to you and your family as you consider making a decision about the Community Choice Aggregation program for the next 2 years, starting in December, and which choice you will be making. Take care.